This is from Brandon, and he's asking, what do you do if a thread is pulled out from your kilt?
Ooh.
Do you leave the thread in, or do you cut it? His cat apparently displaced a few threads in his kilt.
Sorry, man.
There's a couple ways to define thread in this instance. If you are talking about, I'll talk about three different things. What do you do if a thread is coming out of your kilt? If you're talking about the fringe on the front apron and there's a thread coming out there, a piece of the actual yarn that makes up the fabric, if it's in the fringed area, you can just pull it out. Don't worry about it. That's what we do anyway here in the shop. That's how we make the fringe. If it's a thread, as in something, the sewing thread, then be careful. I wouldn't pull on it. I would probably cut it and or take it to a tailor or a dry cleaner with a tailoring service and have them kind of either hand sew or just reinforce that stitching.
Tack it, basically.
Yeah, tack it or just reinforce the stitching a little bit.
You're talking about structural thread, though.
Structural thread that actually sewed the garment together.
Okay.
If you're talking about the yarn that's actually in the pattern, that's the cloth itself.
So
if the cat has grabbed it and pulled, and the claw has kind of pulled the fabric, take a pin, whether a safety pin or a straight pin or a seam ripper, which has a little pointy end, and you actually take that thread and you push it through to the back of the cloth. Well, first, actually, before you do that, first take the cloth and kind of snap it taut. You can go on a diagonal this way, straight, up and down, snap it as taut as you can and stretch it to try to get that thread to pull back, into the fabric. Once you've done that, hopefully that will have made that little tail, if you will, smaller. So once that tail is smaller, it's going to be a little bit easier, and you're going to basically just use a needle or the seam ripper and just kind of poke it and gently feed it through the fabric and pull it out the back side, and then it'll just kind of disappear. You won't really recognize it. From the inside, you'll see a tiny little pull, but just don't mess with it. Just push it through and let it kind of dangle there on the inside a little bit. Over time, as you walk around in a kilt or launder the kilt or take it to a dry cleaner, it will probably work its way back into the weave, but don't cut it, don't pull it, just, stretch the fabric and push it through.
Just tuck it in.
Yep, forget it's there.
Okay. Hopefully that helps.
Yep.